There were warriors who did not fear losing, not because they believed they would always win, not because they were reckless or blind to danger, but because loss had already been accepted. They did not measure life by victories collected or battles survived. They did not measure worth by outcomes or applause. They measured themselves by faithfulness, and because of that, they could be surrounded, wounded, betrayed, yet never defeated. The Knights Templar understood a rule so severe it dismantles fear at the root. Once the cost is accepted, nothing can be taken from you. Most people do not fear effort. They fear wasted effort. They fear giving years to something that may not reward them. They fear sacrificing comfort only to be misunderstood. They fear losing publicly, where others can see. So they delay, they hedge, they wait for certainty that never comes. But warriors understood something most people avoid. Fear is not created by danger. Fear is created by attachment to outcome. When success becomes a requirement, movement becomes fragile. The Knights Templar were not adventurers chasing glory. They were men who deliberately chose loss. They took vows of poverty, removing wealth as leverage. They surrendered personal ownership, removing comfort as protection. They accepted death as possible, removing survival as the metric. They lived, knowing they might never return home. Their names might vanish from memory. Their sacrifice might go unrecognized. And still, they moved forward calmly, because fear cannot exist once the price has already been paid. The Templar rule was simple and unforgiving. Do not measure success by survival or victory. Measure it by loyalty to the vow. Once this rule was accepted, the meaning of loss changed. Loss no longer meant failure. Suffering no longer meant mistake. Death no longer meant defeat. Only betrayal mattered. As long as the oath remained intact, nothing else could touch them. This is how defeat disappeared. A man who hopes to avoid loss can be pressured. A man who has accepted loss cannot be threatened. The Templars did not fight with rage or desperation. They fought with stillness, because there was nothing left to protect, nothing left to negotiate, nothing left to bargain away. Fear requires leverage. They had already removed it. Today, fear has multiplied. Not because danger increased, but because exposure did. Loss is no longer private. It is documented, shared, judged. Modern life trains you to fear not just failure, but how failure will be perceived. A loss, today, is dissected by strangers, mocked by spectators, celebrated by those who never moved. This constant audience magnifies hesitation, but warriors were never shaped by spectators. Most voices criticizing your losses are not coming from those who walked the path. They are coming from the sidelines, from people protecting their own comfort, from people explaining away their inaction, from people with opinions that cost them nothing. The Knights Templar did not answer to observers. They answered to their oath. They understood a timeless truth. Judgment from those who do not carry the weight has no authority. That is why the brave advanced, while the many remained watchers. Loss is external. Defeat is internal. The Templars lost land. They lost battles. They were betrayed, hunted, and destroyed. Yet, history remembers their resolve, not their collapse. Because defeat only occurs when the code is abandoned. Everything else is cost, and cost, when accepted, no longer controls you. There is a moment every warrior reaches, the moment he decides, even if this costs me, I continue. Not angrily, not dramatically, quietly. That is the moment fear begins to starve, because fear feeds on uncertainty. Once the cost is accepted, nothing remains to negotiate. Nothing remains to threaten. Nothing remains to delay. Only forward movement remains. You do not need armor to live this rule. You apply it when. You act without demanding immediate validation. You stop counting wins and losses publicly. You continue even when progress looks like failure. You measure yourself by alignment, not reaction. This is how warriors outlast others, not by winning faster, but by refusing to fracture internally. This rule feels dangerous because it removes escape stories. You can no longer say, "It didn't work. They didn't understand. The timing was wrong." Only one question remains. Did I remain loyal to my commitment? That question carries weight, and most people would rather avoid weight than carry it with discipline. When fear of loss dissolves, something replaces it. Calm. Not excitement, not confidence. Calm. You stop rushing outcomes. You stop explaining yourself. You stop performing. You move steadily because nothing is being debated anymore. This is the calm warriors carried into chaos. Ask yourself, slowly, honestly, what loss are you still afraid to accept? Not the loss you talk about, the one you avoid naming, the loss of certainty, the loss of approval, the loss of being seen as capable, successful, or ahead. This fear is not weakness. It is attachment to outcome. Warriors do not pretend this attachment isn't there. They face it directly. They understand that fear does not disappear through denial or confidence. It disappears when the cost is accepted, before it is demanded. This is the final test. Not whether you will win, not whether others will understand, but whether you are willing to continue even if the loss arrives and nothing is returned immediately. Those who pass this test do not become fearless. They become unmovable. If you need guarantees, this path will feel unbearable. If you need applause, this path will feel lonely. But if you want freedom from fear, this is where it begins. Subscribe to Warrior's Path. This is not motivation. This is a code. Accept the cost. Defeat ends here.